not going to keep us from the marching and from all the rest of the activities for very long, but I want to thank Karen and everybody involved in organizing not only the march, but all of the related activities for all of the folks that you've invited. And especially, I want to be grateful that you invited me to come and to speak. My name is Chris Bowden Newsom, and I run the farm at Bartram's Garden. I work at the farm at Bartram's Garden. I should say the community of Southwest Philadelphia runs the farm at Bartram's Garden. And I just want to have your ear for a second, because I wanted to think about this theme as we're going out into the streets to sort of proclaim everything that we've been talking about, the things that we've been doing in our own respective communities, working to make sure that we have clean seed, working to make sure, that we preserve the stories that go with those seeds. I just want to sort of implant this idea, rather, or maybe even just sort of nourish this idea as we go out. I was introduced as a free farmer, and I often say that, a third generation free farmer. And I want people to know what that means, because for me that's very connected to what we're doing here and to the work of preserving seeds. The majority of African descended people in this country did agricultural work. Actually, the majority of people in this country, in the world, have done agricultural work, right? But specifically thinking about what it means to be farming and growing food for one's own self and one's own family. I am the third generation in my family. All of us continue to farm on some level and in some way. And for me, it feels very powerful to say that I am doing this work, continuing my family's work, outside of the bonds of any actual legal slavery. But I want to connect this idea for those of us who are growing food, or maybe you don't grow food, if you just eat food or you're just passionate about food, is for many of my people, so much associated with agriculture has been kind of clouded in shame, right? And I want us to think about the ways in which industrial agriculture very much, it was what was behind the slave trade in this country. Okay, that's industrial agriculture. We don't think of it in those terms, right? And we see the devastating results of that. We see that we are still cleaning up, and we are still even now just beginning to have conversations around what it means to mix slavery and oppression and injustice and control with our food system, right? We have 200, 300 years of learning to do around that. So I want to encourage all of us who are out here in the streets that when you are doing this work of marching and speaking, whatever that you take to heart very much the connection between the freedom of the seed, us knowing where our seed comes from, us having a story to go with that seed, and our own individual freedoms, right? And what that means. So I just want to encourage everyone. I want to remind everyone the deeper meaning of what we're doing. When we say this, we don't know what's going to happen. When we grow foods that are genetically modified, we know what will happen to farmers. We know what will happen to people who grow the food, right? Is that they're going to become dependent and indebted to companies and corporations, right? But in terms of the average everyday eater, what it might mean, right? We don't really know what all of that means. And so going out and supporting work, to keep our seeds pure, and to keep the stories with them, you're doing a monumental thing, and I want everyone to go out there and tell somebody too. I heard that there might be counter-protesters even in the room. Anybody from the days of radical activism, right? Who knows about the plants and COINTELPRO and all that stuff, right? What it is, though, what's really important is to remember that those of us who are here, who are gathered here to promote freedom of the seed, to promote purity of our seed, right? And to promote keeping the story, we have to keep that part to heart, right? Keep that part. Know that what we're doing is also not just fighting because we're attached to a particular variety of tomato that our grandmother loved, right? We want to ensure the freedom. We want to ensure the sovereignty. That means the independence of generations that come after us. So I want just as we're doing this, I want everyone to think about that. Keep in mind that as you're walking, that you actually are connecting your work to people that you'll never see in a future that's coming.